So when you sell the family home, whether it's in Guelph, Kitchener, Waterloo, or Cambridge areas, most people assume the next step is obvious. You're going to buy again as a retiree because you've always owned a home, so you think you're going to move into the next home. And that's what's responsible homeowners do. You've owned for decades, so why would you suddenly become a renter? But once that house sells and you're sitting on $500,000, $600,000, maybe $700,000 in equity, the question changes. It's no longer rent versus mortgage. It actually becomes, do I want to tie up this capital in another property, or do I want to keep it liquid and rent instead? And that's what this video is going to cover for you today. That is a very different decision. Most online advice misses this distinction, and it's often very American focused. And we are going to focus on Canada and Ontario. So it assumes a dramatic rent increase and tax rules that don't apply here, and it doesn't reflect how Ontario actually works. So let's walk through this properly. I'm going to cover why some retirees choose to buy again, why others choose to rent. And then I'll take you through a real $900,000 example with numbers, because this decision deserves clarity, not assumptions. So why do some retirees choose to buy again? Well, the first reason is stability. Ownership provides permanence. There's no landlord, there's no lease renewal, there is no uncertainty about someone deciding to sell the building on you. And after 25, 30, sometimes 40 years of owning, renting can feel unsettling. Retirement already brings change, and selling the family home is very emotional. And I have other videos that actually cover that. So buying again can restore a sense of control and grounding. Ownership also gives you complete authority over your space. So if you want to paint, renovate, or upgrade, you simply do it. And you do it on your timeline. And if you need to modify a bathroom for mobility or add safety features, no one needs to approve it. That freedom creates pride of ownership. And when you own, you tend to invest more care and attention into your environment because you benefit directly from it. Another reason retirees buy again is to remain invested in real estate. Many people feel comfortable with property because they've owned it for decades. They understand it, it's bricks and mortars. It's something they can touch. They've seen long-term appreciation in this region. And there's also the estate planning component of all of this. Some retirees like the idea of leaving behind a tangible assets for their family and children. And a home feels solid, bricks and mortar again. It feels understandable from children and heirs. And by buying again, it's not just about the upside, there are real trade-offs. Now, what are the real costs of buying again? Well, maintenance never disappears with a house, even in a condo. You are responsible for everything inside your unit. So appliances fail, flooring wears out, plumbing issues arise. Those are all your expenses. Now, if you purchase freehold again, even a smaller home, you reintroduce roof replacements and furnaces, windows, snow removal, landscaping, and the ongoing stream of small repairs. Many retirees tell me it's not just the money that concerns them, it's the management, coordinating trades, making repair decisions. Being home for appointments, carrying, the mental load of owning a place yourself. There is also the liquidity to consider when you have home ownership. A home is not a liquid asset. If your health changes, if you want to relocate, or if you need access to capital, selling actually takes time. The market may not align with your timeline, and we've seen this in recent years. Market exposure still exists. Real estate moves in cycles. So if you buy again and need to sell sooner than expected, timing really matters, and transaction costs matter as well. So land transfer, tax, legal fees, moving costs, and eventual selling costs reduce flexibility. Buying again should be intentional, not an automatic thing. So why do some retirees choose to rent then? Well, because it's where there is often And this is where the confusion often happens. In Ontario, rent increases are regulated. All rental units are governed under the Residential Tenancy Act, the RTA. The province sets an annual rent increase guideline each and every year. And over the last 15 years, that guideline has not exceeded 2%. There are no current indications that this structure is going to change anytime soon. So in my own personal experience, as a landlord over the past 15 years, I have never seen runaway increases on rents. I've only seen back-to-back 2% increases once, and that was during COVID period after there was a rent freeze. So most of the time, increases are modest and spaced out. So when retirees worry about rent escalating, unpredictability year after year, that simply does not reflect Ontario's reality. Rent here is highly predictable. If your rent increases by up to 2% in a given year, you can budget for that. That predictability provides clarity in retirement. Now, compare that with ownership. So when you own, you may go years with minimal expenses and then suddenly face maybe a $12,000 roof replacement or a $4,500 furnace, or with a large condo, maybe it's a special assessment. Those are not incremental increases. They are large, irregular expenses. And renting replaces those unpredictable capital costs with small, regulated adjustments. That's one of the benefits of renting. The second major advantage of renting is capital preservation. So when you sell your family home and do not buy again, your equity remains liquid. It can be invested. It can generate income. It can remain accessible. This is the part most people fail to calculate. The real comparison is not rent versus mortgage. It is more rent versus tying up hundreds of thousands of dollars in a property. So renting also removes the management burden. So if something breaks, maintenance handles it. You're not coordinating with different trades. You're not worrying about reserve funds or special assessments. Now, there are trade-offs though. So when you rent, you rely on the property management company to take care of things. If the building's well run, the experience is really excellent. If management is poor, cleanliness and maintenance can decline, and that really attracts less good tenants. So you also may not feel the same pride of ownership. Many renters hesitate to invest heavily in upgrades or decor because they don't directly benefit from any of that long term. But that same dynamic removes pressure. You're not responsible for everything. You're exchanging control for simplicity when you rent. So here's a $900,000 real life example. I'm going to walk you through the real numbers here. So you sell your detached home for $900,000. After commissions and legal fees, you net approximately $850,000. You pay off the remaining $150,000 mortgage and walk away with $700,000 in equity, let's say. Option one is to buy again. You purchase a condo for $700,000, which is really nice, and it's a lovely condo, and you use most of your equity. You pay land transfer tax and legal fees, and now you own it outright. Your annual costs might include $4,000 in property taxes, $7,200 in annual condo fees at $600 per month, which would be acceptable. Add insurance and utilities, and your baseline annual housing costs could sit between $12,000 and $15,000, excluding interior repairs. Your $700,000 is now tied up in this property. Option two is to rent. You rent a comparable condo for $2,800 per month, and that's a really generous, very nice condo. That equals $33,600 per year. However, your $700,000 remains invested, and at a conservative 4% annual return, that generates $28,000 per year before tax. And at 5%, it generates $35,000 per year. Now the math looks different. Your investment income could offset most or potentially all of your rent, depending on returns. Meanwhile, your principal remains liquid. If the annual rent increase guideline is 2%, let's say your $2,800 rent becomes $2,856. the following year if the full increase is applied to that amount. That is incremental and predictable. The question then becomes, how do you want your capital structured? The decision to rent or to buy after selling the family home is not about what you have always done. It's really about how you want to design the next stage of your life. Buying again provides permanence and full control over your space, and that might be very important to you. It keeps you invested in property and offers emotional grounding. Renting in Ontario, on the other hand, provides predictable cost increases, capital liquidity, and relief from property management responsibilities. The right answer depends on your financial position, your health outlook, your family proximity, and your desire for flexibility over the next 10 or 15 years. This is not a default decision like many think it is. It really is a very strategic decision to make in retirement. And here's another video that will help you in your retirement journey.